Hello everybody, welcome back to Tunes Reviews. Today we're going to do a bit of a different video. Hi kitty. Hey sweet kitty. It's Matilda May. Hi Matilda May. The cats are definitely going to be up in my business while I'm making this video, so apologies for the cat attack. Today we're going to talk about my favorite fragrances from my collection, the ones that I have purchased reoccurring bottles of, and or there are a couple in here that in the last year I've discovered and absolutely know for a fact, solidified, written, done in the movie, fact, okay, that I will have multiple bottles of this, these selections in my collection from here on. So this is going to be my favorite fragrances from my collection, my top 10, although there are two honorable mentions in this video. I think it's going to be quite different than what most of you are used to seeing on my channel, with the exception of, well, maybe it's 50-50. But I do know that, you know, a lot of people are going to expect me to have things like Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille on here, which did not make the cut, nor did Amouage Reflection Man. And yeah, that's just interesting because those two fragrances have been a huge part of my journey in general. Like, those are just fragrances that I've had for the last 10 years, and they have been fragrances that I have held near and dear to my heart, and kind of are fragrances that people expect to smell on me when they're around me, like my friends and family and whatnot. Also, some other selections that are not on this list that are fragrances that kind of help define a certain timeline in my life, like Silver Factory and New Harlem by Bond. We have some designers in there like Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce and Angel Men, you know, fragrances that helped develop my nose, like Angel Men. All that being said, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you're all doing well out there. I hope that all this COVID bullshit and, you know, all the injustice and all that hasn't got us all too down. We can come together, and like I know we will as a country, as people, we are resilient and we can come together and band together, and we're more powerful together than we are estranged from one another. So I hope that that's the case, and make sure that our voices are heard. So that being said, let's dive right into it. So like I said, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. The two honorable mentions are these. I don't know why we do honorable mentions as reviewers, by the way, because we could just do a top 15 or top 20, but it always sounds cool or whatever to add honorable mention. So, you know, fuck it, I guess. So first one up is Luminesce by Frappon. This is a fragrance that I have, this is my second bottle of it, and this is a fragrance that I have had in my collection for about 7 years now. And I personally think that it is probably in the top 5 sexiest fresh fragrances ever created, period, done. And it just smells absolutely scrumptious on me. This is one that is wonderful for summer. It's good for any time, really, because it's really worthy of a signature scent, I think, but, or an office setting or whatever. But this does wonders when you are a little bit hot and sweaty in the summertime. It just projects much better. It's a little bit muskier, and it smells phenomenal. My second honorable mention is a fragrance that I just haven't owned for very long, and it's a house that I actually am discovering and feeling like I really need to dive deeper into as of late. There's probably 3 other fragrances I'll be picking up from the line, but this was actually a gift to me from my girlfriend for our 3-year anniversary back in May, and that is this wonderful fragrance by a zoologist called Squid. Now, squid, for some, is a little bit difficult to pull off, a little bit challenging, but I don't really see that at all. It's more like, it's very sexy, inky, incensey blue fragrance, and I really enjoy it. It's a fresh incense in my mind, to my nose, and I absolutely think it's gorgeous. My girlfriend loves it. I love the stories that are told behind the zoologist creations, and I think that they are just absolutely cool. They're just cool. What a cool creation. The House of Zoologists by Mr. Victor Wong. So that is my second honorable mention for you, Zoologist Squid. Now, let's dive into the top 10 fragrances in my entire collection. I mean, these fragrances, if I had to give away everything else and, this is what I had to live with, I'd be totally content with it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to keep it 100, as the kids say. There's nothing wrong with a smaller collection. If you feel like you are continually trying to keep up with the hysteria of having 1,000+ bottle collection, and you're like in your 20s and you can't afford shit because your next rent check is barely, you're barely gonna make your next rent check, and you're paying for your food and your school and whatever, fuck it. Pick out 10 or 5 great fragrances that are just incredible, that knock your socks off, that you love. That's all that matters. Here we go. These would be my 10. I think, maybe. Depends on the day. At number 10, and this is really no in particular order. I mean, I suppose that the bottom half, 5 to 1 would be the ones that are like the ones that I would really choose. But this fragrance is one that I actually discovered about a year ago, and I'm absolutely head over heels on it. I feel like this is a fragrance that really represents who I am. It represents my personality, I think. My girlfriend said when I first applied this, when I was testing it out, that smells like me. She said, that smells like you. That smells like something that you would wear. It's you, it's your personality, etc. And that is Ombre Loup by Rania J Fragrances. Now, this fragrance is cinnamon and amber. It is, and some vanilla. It is absolutely exquisite. It's breathtaking to me. When I first tried this, I was just so in love with it. I still am. I think this easily could be my fall or winter signature scent. And I think the house in general is freaking fantastic. If you guys haven't heard of it, please go check them out on Lucky Scent, because this is actually a house that I discovered, like I said, about a year ago, and I loved every single offering from them. It is so far and few between that happens for me, but my God, love this fragrance. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely do yourselves a favor. That stuff is astonishing. Next up, we got a fragrance from the House of Creed. You guys just saw me do my unboxing of this. This is just something that I feel like you can't go wrong with. It's Green Irish Tweed by Creed. It is a lot of people's signature scent, and for good reason. The stuff smells fantastic. You're gonna get compliments with it. It's inoffensive. It works well for work or school or whatever, really. I mean, it's just fresh and classy and elegant and incredibly well done. I absolutely love that fragrance. It's incredibly uplifting to me. So Creed's Green Irish Tweed, that is my second bottle that I've owned of Green Irish Tweed, and it will not be the last. Number 8 is a fragrance that I go through a 15 ml travel spray a year of, and I don't know why I do it this way, but I had also gone through a 3.4 ounce bottle of it, and I just decided to pick this up instead of replenishing my 3.4 ounce bottle. And that is from the House of Profumum Roma, Dolces in Fondo, or Dolces in Fondo. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Dolces in Fondo. My God, this is one of my all-time favorite fragrances ever. And it's loud, it's sweet, it's very, very authentic vanilla and orange, and it just smells like a vanilla orange cake, and it's just freaking awesome. It smells delightful. It is one of my most complimented fragrances, if that's something that you guys give a shit about. I really don't at this particular juncture, but I just want to inform you guys on what it does for me. What it does for me is this. It makes me feel cozy, it makes me feel safe, and it makes me feel at home. Dolces in Fondo, something that I've had in my collection for the last 5 years, and it ain't going nowhere anytime soon. Profumum Roma, Dolces in Fondo. Number 7 is a fragrance that I will always have in my collection. Not only do I love the smell of it, not only does it remind me of when I first started to dive into niche and the beginning of my journey on YouTube and all the wonderful people that I had met. But it reminds me of my father, who passed away when I was younger, and it certainly takes me on a nostalgia trip anytime I smell it. And that is this beauty here, Tom Ford Tuscan Leather. This is the only Tom Ford in the list. So, for all of you out there that say that I only talk about Tom Ford, you're wrong. You're wrong. I have a lot of love for a lot of different perfume houses. Tom Ford just happens to be something that I get along with very easily, and I easily own the most bottles from that house. But Tuscan Leather is a staple for me, and it is a fragrance that I think kind of encompasses what a man would smell like after working on a muscle car all day, and I absolutely love it. I love that smell. It very much reminds me of my father. So that being said, Tuscan Leather is on the top 10 list. Number 6 is a fragrance that I have gone through a bottle and a travel spray of, and this is my second bottle, so I guess it's my second full bottle of it. And it's something that could easily, honestly, be a signature scent for me, because I just grab and spray this all the time. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Most people would say that this is a fall and winter fragrance. I wear it all year. We're, we're pulling 90-degree days here in New York right now. I wear this shit all day long. I don't care. By Kilian's Back to Black. It used to be Straight to Heaven that was my favorite from the house, but I think it's safe to say that Back to Black is my favorite. Straight to Heaven's a close second, but Back to Black is just something that I feel like, I don't know, it's something that every human can own and just pull off, and it smells so seductive and so well put together, and I absolutely love that fragrance. It is incredible to me. It's a wonderful pipe tobacco fragrance, and you cannot go wrong with tobacco when it comes to this nose. Next up on my list is a fragrance that is a little bit newer in my collection, and I will be honest, I've only liked one other fragrance from this house. It's not that I don't appreciate the artistic integrity or the perfumery or whatever. However, it's just a lot of the fragrances from the house I don't necessarily get along with, and this is one of the greatest fragrances I've ever gotten my nose on in the last 10 years, and I absolutely love it. It is something that's gonna be a staple in my collection for a long, long time, and it's because it wears many faces and it does so many different things for me, and that is none other than Raja Dove Creation E, or Enigma. I did actually want to get the bottle that says Enigma on it, but it was a little bit more difficult to obtain that. My God, though, this fragrance is just so interesting to me, and it's not even that linear, to be honest. It changes quite a few times, but it's a very simple fragrance in the way that it progresses. It's essentially a fizzy soda pop, citrusy fragrance at first, and then transitions into a really nice cognac, vanilla, cigar type fragrance that still has that lingering fizziness. And it's absolutely freaking mind-boggling how he did that, because most other fragrances, the top notes would disappear immediately, but it does not with this. This fragrance is sexy as shit. It is absolutely sexy. So sexy. So sexy. I love it. This is a fragrance that I think comes off very gentlemanly. I think a man or woman, or however you want to identify yourself, could pull this off easily. It's not something that I think is gendered, but I just think of a really wealthy, posh human being when I smell that fragrance. It's not even because of the price tag, because there's other fragrances in here that actually cost a little bit more than what I got Creation E for, but yeah, it just smells really good. It smells really good. I love it. It's perfect for a date. It's perfect for going out on the town. It's just an all-around wonderful fragrance, and I think something that people could also pull off as being a signature scent. So for that reason, all those reasons, it's in the top 10. Next up is one of two fragrances in my entire collection that has a backup bottle. I don't usually do backup bottles, but if it's something that I wear frequently, which this one is, and you'll see in about 2 seconds what it is, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yep, 100%, that's something that Tim has gone through a lot of. Like I say, this is never going to go anywhere, I don't think. This is just so timeless to me. It is a classic. It'll go down as a classic. It's my favorite Creed, none other than Royal Oud. So as you can see, I'm almost out. I told you guys before, and I don't think you guys always believe me, but I'll unbox the box too, just so you can see. Because I feel like there are doubters out there when they say things like, you know, there's no way you could go through that many bottles in such little time. Well, when you spray a fragrance every day or every other day, you're gonna go through it pretty quickly. So I got the 4-ounce flask because I'm gonna end up getting, you know, bottle after bottle of this, so I may as well get the bigger bottle. Royal Oud isn't going anywhere. It's been my signature scent for a really long time now. Ever since I smelled it, I think about 6 years ago, and it has been a staple ever since. It's just a wonderful, easy to wear fragrance that I absolutely adore. And if you haven't checked it out, you need to get your nose on it. So that being said, Creed Royal Oud, top 10, not going anywhere. So these 3 fragrances, these last 3 here, could easily be my most worn fragrances in the last 2 years, I guess. Well, I guess with the exception of the one that I'll bring up first and foremost. The one that I'm going to bring up next. The one that I'm going to bring up next is actually one that Eugene talked me into giving a second chance to because it got reformulated and I hadn't owned a bottle of this for quite some time. It'd been a couple years. But my God, like I bought a 3.4 ounce bottle, I think a week after I had this, so it's my only other one that I have a backup bottle of. And that is Frederic Mall's Musc Ravageur. Guys, I used to keep it real with how this thing does not get along with most other people. I don't know what's happened. Most everyone loves this stuff on me. Most everybody compliments this stuff when it's on me. It's no longer an issue. Again, I don't give a shit because I would wear it regardless because I love this stuff, okay? However, if you're concerned about your cats making a lot of noise, if you're concerned about this offending people, don't, you know, maybe wear like one spray instead of going ham on it, right? But my gosh, what an absolutely astonishing piece of artwork that just smells scrumptious. And this just really does remind me of my entire journey. This is actually probably my most favorite complex fragrance I've ever come across. And it's actually not that complex. The older formulation was a little bit more harsh and a little bit more complex, but this might be a contender for my favorite fragrance of all time. In all honesty, I think that it's right up there. It's in the top 3. So that being said, Musc Ravageur, if you haven't gotten your nose on it, give it a try. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be all these things like a panty dropper and all those things that it was sold as, you know, back in the day. I don't think it's really any of those things. It's just a really pleasant, complex fragrance for those that have just started in the journey. I think for most people that have been in the journey for a while, won't find it as complex, but certainly one worth getting your nose on. And the last 2 that I've got here, okay, are ones that I've gone through several bottles each of. They're just absolutely astonishing. Number 2 here we have the Hockey Puck Bulgari Black. I absolutely love this stuff. It is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. It's probably my favorite designer. It's at least, number 1 or number 2 as far as designer goes. I absolutely cannot get enough of this fragrance. It is so sexy. It's, you know, leather, black tea, and vanilla, and there's this really interesting rubbery note that you do get right off the bat, and I think that that's kind of a combination of the black tea and the leather kind of mingling together, but either way, it does come off as a little bit of a rubber note. And again, this is one that is one of my most favorite fragrances to wear casually You can dress it up or down, but it's something that I wear on a regular basis. I wear this at least 2 or 3 times a week. I shit you not. But I do alternate what I wear between day and night. So keep that in mind when you hear folks like myself saying that they go through a fragrance that quickly. So number 2, Bulgari Black, not leaving the collection anytime soon. Hello, Molly Sue? Do you see everybody on the camera there? You say hi to everyone? Okay, bye. Number 1, could just as easily, again, be a signature scent, okay? I've worn more of this than I have my Amouage Reflection Man. I reviewed this a year ago, and I blew through that bottle, and this is now my 2nd bottle in a year. I'm not kidding you guys. There was a time, about 7 or 8 months straight, where I didn't buy a single bottle, not a single bottle, and I just wore what I had. And my collection stays right around 60. I don't really let it get out of hand at this point. I try to keep it right around the 50 mark most of the time, to be honest with you, because I like to wear what I've got, and everybody's got their own way of doing things, and it's not a knock at anyone. I don't care if you got 10,000 bottles. Honestly, if I was a fucking millionaire, I'd probably have a whole goddamn wing dedicated to fragrance. But I want a modest collection for now, because that's where I'm at in life. So, number 1, Guerlain Tonka Imperial. Now this fragrance, I just, you slap the name Guerlain in front of me and I'm probably gonna like it, or love it. Most cases it's a love. The Art and Raw Materials line is one of the best lines I've ever come across, ever. And Tonka Imperial just happens to be the one alongside Angelique Noir, which is actually a contender for my favorite from Guerlain, and could have easily made it in my top 10. But I just find that Tonka Imperial is something that I reach far more for, and it's something that I've worn a lot more of in the last 10 years. So that being said, Tonka Imperial, number 1, one of my favorite fragrances ever. All of these fragrances are some of the best fragrances I've ever come across on my journey. And I'm sorry for all of you out there that may be designer heads. I have a designer in my list. I'm sorry for that, but that's just where I'm at. That's where I've been at for the last few years. I've been mostly a collector of niche fragrances because that's what I tend to, be drawn to. So I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all stay safe, and I will talk to you all lovely people soon. Bye.